Good day, guys. Welcome to my class. My name is Jibes, and I'm going to be your instructor in this series of courses I'll be doing about the IELTS test. This is the very first in the series, and it's an introduction to the IELTS test question format. What you should expect in the different aspects of the test, the different question types, how they come, and how to go about answering them. So, I would like us to simulate real life classroom settings. So get your favorite jotter. This is a very important class, and the information that will be shared in this video is the very basis and foundation of the IELTS test. It's very important and crucial. Then get away from the bed, shift far away from your bed so you don't get too relaxed and fall asleep in the middle of the class. You also strongly advise to jot down in your own words the things I'm saying so that when you're going over your notes, you can understand it better from your own perspective. So let's go. Yeah, like I said earlier, the purpose of this course is to introduce you to the IELTS test question format. What kind of questions are you going to see? How do you go about answering them? The listening, the reading, writing, and speaking. Useful tips and strategies as well. Now, from the very moment you cough out that huge sum of money to register for this test, you're signing up for 4 papers. You're going to be tested on 4 modules. Now, on exam day, the very day of the exam, the very first paper for the day is the listening. Listening is paper number 1. That's the first thing you start with on exam day. Now, after the listening, the next paper, the second paper for the day is the reading. The reading paper comes next, immediately after the listening. Then after the reading, you do the writing paper last. So on exam day, listening comes first. After the listening, you do the reading. After the reading, the writing. Now, depending on whether you are doing the computer-based test or the paper-based test, the speaking test is done on a separate day. If you are doing the paper-based test, the speaking test is done on another day, a separate day from the 3 main papers. On few occasions, it can be done on the same day, but most of the time, if you're writing on paper, the speaking test is done on a separate day, different from the 3 main paper. And by 3 main paper, I mean the listening, the reading, and the writing. Now, if you're doing the computer-based test, the computer-based test is done on the same day as the 3 main papers. You can do it before the 3 main paper, or you can do it after the 3 main paper. So that's how the speaking comes. Now, we'll be going into these modules one after the other, and I'll be giving you insight on the question structure, how to answer them, important tips that you need to know. The first module, the first paper for the day, like I said earlier, is the listening test. Now, the listening test has 40 questions, and you're supposed to answer it in 30 minutes. Basically, what they do in the listening test is to play an audio tape for you. They'll give you a headset and play an audio tape for you. From what you hear on the tape, you write your answers down. So you have 30 minutes to do it. The tape that will be played for you on exam day lasts for 30 minutes. At the end of this 30 minutes, you'll be given 10 minutes. 10 minutes to transfer to an answer sheet. So what does this mean? It means that initially, during the first 30 minutes here, you're expected to write your answers in the question booklet. So in the first 30 minutes here, write your answers in the question booklet. But when it's time to after the tape has ended, they'll give you 10 minutes, extra 10 minutes to transfer to an answer sheet. Now, that will make a total of 40 minutes for the listening test. 40 questions, 40 minutes. Now, if you're doing the CBT, computer-based test, you don't have that 10 minutes to transfer to an answer sheet. You're only given 2 minutes to review your answers, just 2 minutes. And after the 2 minutes, it will be submitted. Your answers will be submitted. Again, it's strongly recommended that in the listening test, you write all your answers in capital letters, but inside the answer sheet. Please pay attention, very important. You write your answers all in capital letters inside the answer sheet. Remember, during the first 30 minutes, you'll be writing inside the question paper. When you're writing inside the question paper, you're supposed to write in small letters. Why? Because it's faster. It's faster to write in small letters. Now, this is a very good point. This is a very good spot to state that the whole of this test is done with a pencil. Please jot it down. The entire IELTS test, listening, reading, writing, is done with a pencil. So if you are going for the paper-based test, know it at the back of your mind that you're writing the entire test with a pencil. Now, writing with a pencil is much slower than writing with a pen. So you need to write fast and pay attention to the tape so you don't get lost, you don't get left behind. If you don't write fast enough and pay attention to the tape, you may miss some answers. So if you're writing with a pencil and you're also writing in capital letters, uppercase, it's going to be much slower than writing in smaller letters. So, during the first 30 minutes when the tape is playing and you're writing inside the question paper, write all your answers in small letters, in lowercase letters. Write all your answers in lowercase letters. When it's time to transfer to an answer sheet, transfer your answers into the answer sheet in capital letters. I'll be explaining why you need to do that shortly. Now, this is what the typical listening question looks like. This was got from the Cambridge series. So, you're expected to listen to a voice tape, a tape that has been recorded for you, and then answer the questions in your question booklet. So this is what the question booklet looks like, and as you can see, there are blank spaces here. You have to fill these blank spaces. Now I'm going to give you some tips on how to fill these answers correctly so you don't lose mark. The thing with the IELTS listening test is it's not just hearing the answers. The way you write the answers matters a lot as well. So you're not only expected to listen attentively to the correct answer, you're also expected to write down the answer in the correct way so you score the mark. Now, let's take a look at question number 1 here. Question number 1 is talking about the name of the agent. Now, let's assume you had the name Becky Simons. That was the name you had clearly on the tape. Remember, they're going to play a tape for you. So in the tape, you hear Becky Simons as your answer. If you write it like this, you're going to get a 0. Why? Because the Becky is already there for you. You don't need to duplicate it. So the lesson here is this: do not duplicate words that are already existing before or after the blank space. So what will be the answer? You just write Simons. Do not duplicate the words that are already existing. Now, if you look at the answer Simons, it's somebody's name, right? So it's a proper noun. Proper nouns are supposed to start with a capital letter. So this is rule number 2. Proper nouns should start with a capital letter. By proper nouns, we mean special names of people, places, or things. So they should all start with a capital letter. So Simons is somebody's name, is a proper noun, should start with a capital letter. If you write it like this, you're going to get a 0. Why? Because it's starting with a small letter. Now, to be on the safer side, it's strongly advised that you write all your answers in capital letters, uppercase letters, all through, like so. This is correct. It will save you the stress of trying to figure out which particular word is a proper noun or not, which one should start with the capital letter or not. And under exam tension, you usually don't have that luxury. So, write all your answers in capital letters to save you the stress. But write it in capital letters inside the answer sheet only. If you're writing in block letters in your question paper when the tape is still playing, you're going to slow yourself down. So in the question paper, write in small letters, lowercase. When you're transferring to an answer sheet, transfer in capital letters. Of course, this does not apply to those taking the CBT test. You just put on your caps lock and you write all your answers in capital letters if you are doing the computer-based test. Now, take a look at question number 5. It's talking about the pay, right? The pay is usually dash per hour. Now let's assume you had 1,000 pounds. 1,000 pounds. If you write the, okay, before we do that, there's another important thing you need to know about the listening answers. The S at the end is very important, plural. The person's name is Simons, not Simon. If you write Simon without the S, you're going to get a 0. So the plurals are very important. Don't be too hasty to write your answers. Make sure you write in the correct answers. So if there's an S at the end of the word, please put an S. Now, going back to question number 5, let's assume you had the answer 1,000 pounds per hour. Now, if you write it like this, you're going to get a 0. If you also write it like this, you also get a 0. Why? Because the pound symbol is already there. You also don't need to tell us pounds because the symbol is already there. So if a symbol already exists, don't duplicate that symbol as well. Now, what will be our answer? The answer will just be 1,000. So the next rule is this: watch out for symbols. Symbols like AM, PM, percentage. If they appear at the beginning or the end of a blank space, do not duplicate, do not rewrite that symbol in your answer. You're going to get a 0. So percentage, monetary symbols, AM, time symbols, AM and PM. Don't duplicate them in your answer. Now, another thing you need to take note of is the instruction. If you look at this, the very top here, very top where my cursor is rotating, you see the instruction says you should write one word and or a number. Now, it's very important that you know what this means. What does one word and or a number mean? So it means you can write only one word. That's one word only. You can write one number only, or you can write a combination of one word and a number. That's the definition. Now, take a look at, let's assume we had the answer 10%. Let's assume in the tape, while the tape is playing, we had the person clearly said 10% as our answer. How do we write 10% in one word and or a number? So if you write it like this, you're correct, because this is one number where my cursor is, and this is one word. So 10% correct. If you do it like this, you're also correct. This is what? One number. One number. But if you write it like this, you get a 0. Why? Because these are two words. It's violating the instruction here, which says write one word and or a number. Now, what if the instruction says you should write two words and or a number? It's the same principle. It means you can write two words only. You can write two words and a number. You can write one number only. You can also write one word only. Take note of that. You can also write one word only. So that's the interpretation of two words and or a number. It means you can write below the maximum word stated there, but you cannot write above that limit. And a simple way to remember all this is this. In any scenario, you are only expected to write one number. Whatever the instruction, however it comes, usually you're only expected to write one number. Then if you have one word, it means you can combine it with one word. If you have two words, you can combine it with two words or one word. Don't go above the maximum limit, and don't write more than one number. Now, take a look at question number 6 here. Question 6 says, wear a dash to the interview. Wear a dash to the interview. Now, let's assume you had black shoe. That's the answer you had clearly, black shoe. So how will you write the answer in one word or a number? That's question number 6. Yeah, the answer would just be shoe. Right, shoe. Because the instruction says one word and a number. Black shoe, that's two words. If you put black shoe there, you're going to fail it. So the best thing is to prioritize and put the important word there. So shoe is the best fit here. Now, over to the marking. For those taking the IELTS academic, you need a minimum of 30 over 40 to get the band 7. IELTS academic, you need minimum of 30 over 40 to get a band 7. Now, for those that are taking the IELTS general, that's express entry candidates majorly, you need a minimum of 35 over 40 to get a band 8, which qualifies you to create an express entry profile, depending on your situation actually. For majority of the people, you need 35 over 40 minimum to get a band 8 to create your profile. However, it's strongly recommended that you target 37 over 40 consistently before you say you are ready to take this test. So these are the required scores for the listening test. Now, summary of what I've been saying about the listening test. First of all, we say there are 40 questions, 30 minutes to answer them. At the end of the 30 minutes, they'll give you 10 minutes to transfer to an answer sheet if you're writing the paper-based test. Now, when you're transferring to an answer sheet, when you're writing in the question paper first, you write in small letters. But when it's time to transfer to an answer sheet, transfer all your answers in capital letters. into the answer sheet. Rule number 2, the S is very important. Put the S in plurals. If the answer is a plural, make sure that S is at the end of it. It's very important. If not, you get a 0. Now, the next thing is to watch out for symbols. Remember the pound example I gave, 1,000 pounds. So if a symbol already exists, don't put it anymore. Follow the instructions. One word and or a number means one word and a number. Don't write more than one word. They say 2 words and or a number. Don't write more than 2 words. In any instruction, do not write more than one number. Just one number or 2. Then your spellings must be correct. All your spellings must be correct. An incorrect spelling will get you wrong. So you should learn how to spell tricky words like tennis. Is it double N-I-S? Is it T-double-N-I-S or a single N in the word tennis, like table tennis? So take note of all those tricky words. Know how to spell them. Be conscious of them as you come across them so that you get familiar with their spellings. And that brings us to the end of the listening module. So we'll be discussing the reading module shortly.